Hey, Yusuf.
Hi.
Hello,
Apologies.
Yusuf.
Can you hear me now?
Since everybody's off, I can hear you. I think it's just you and I.
No, people are back in now. I'll just add everyone in now. Apologies. I think it was not set right today for some reason. Stop the share. So it's once Cole is back, we can just go on and finish that session, and then Olatubosun is going to present. Great. Okay. While we wait for Cole, we have the final presentation from Olatubosun.
If people were born with entrepreneurship skills and whatever, the thing is, no one is born with any of these things. We all got here to learn about these things, and as time goes on, even people you see, even the richest men or women you see around being an entrepreneur or whatever, they weren't born with these skills or whatever. So just like Jack Ma said, the former richest man in China, he said he knew nothing about when he started business. He knew nothing about technology. He knew nothing about management or any of those things. But what he did then was he employed people who knows about these things, and he employed people who were way than him. So he just put them together, and as time goes on, he learned a lot of things from them. So now what you do is, even if you don't have the skill of being an entrepreneur or any of these skills, what you can do is employ people who know about these things more than you. So you put them together and make sure that these smart people you put together, they work together. So when you put them together, when they work together, you can learn from them as time goes on. And before you know it, in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you know more about these things. So your job is just to supervise these people. And before you know it, whatever goal you have for your business and whatnot will be successful. So then another thing that I would like to add about about starting up a business, aside from the fact that, okay, we all know money is important here. When you have the money, one mistake people make, especially, let me just say Nigerians, the mistake we make is that we kind of not always think about our target market. That's the first thing you need to think about when you want to start a business. Like, who are the people you are selling to? Okay, now the money is there. Okay, you have the idea, but who are the people you are selling to? Your environment. Okay, now let's say, for example, you want to start selling, let's say you want to package tomatoes now. Now you're taking this thing to a local area where people even can't afford to, feed. And now you package tomatoes and telling them, okay, one pack of tomato is 10,000 naira. They'll be like, tomato that I will go and get from Basira there for 100 naira. Now you want to sell it for 10,000 naira. They won't buy. You see, but when you do these kind of things, let's say you package these tomatoes and now in a place like Lekki now, you're like, okay, even if you get it from the farm and you wash it, you do everything, you package it and whatever, you say, okay, it's 10,000 naira. People will buy. You see, so you need to know your target market and the people you're selling to. Okay, these are the people you are selling to. Yeah, can they afford it? What's their like how do I put it? Are these people rich enough to buy whatever you're selling? Can they afford it? You can't start selling expensive things for people that can't even feed. You have to, look for the people that can actually afford what you're selling. Two, another thing I also want to talk about is another thing I realized over the years, you're making money, everything is working fine. What Nigerians always try to do is, now let me diversify. Now, maybe let's say they're selling shoes and bags. Now everything is going on well. Then they'll be like, I want to go into oil and gas now. Now, they'll keep taking money from that business that is successful on its own, that is doing well. Now they'll start pumping money into that one that they don't even know. Maybe it's even a friend that tells them, this it's oil and gas that is selling now. Now they start taking money from that. They'll start putting it into that oil and gas business. Maybe after 6 months, things didn't go as planned. Fiam, that money is gone. They will take more money from that successful business again. They will still pump it into maybe the same business or another business, thereby affecting the one that is doing well on its own. That nothing is wrong with it. It's on its own. It was doing fine before the idea of wanting to diversify came. So one thing you shouldn't do when you start a business and your business is doing fine is taking money from the business that is doing well, taking money from that business to start a business or pump it into another business that you don't even know about. Even if you know about it, don't use the money from that one. Maybe sometimes you make a lot of profit and you just feel like, you want to play around with money. Okay, yeah, you can do that one. But not like you take money from the business that is doing well to another business that you're not even sure about, thereby affecting the one that is doing well. So people make that kind of mistake. That's why you see maybe sometimes you see some people, they'll be like, but the business was doing fine. Or you see some people, you give Nigerian money now, go and start a business. Today, maybe you give them 20 million. From that 20 million, they will start a business. Fiam, let's say 5 million naira to start, let's say a block industry now. Maybe after 3 months, the business is not going as they plan. Before you know it, they will close down. They don't always know, or they don't always think about, it's normal to fail. It's normal to to run into a loss, yes. But what you have to do is, re-strategize. When things like that happen, you have to re-strategize. Where did you get it wrong? Then, let's do it this way, let's do it that way. But what Nigerians do is, once it starts like that, it happens like that, fiam, it is done. They will leave that business. They will go into another business. Let's say from that 5 million now, they want to sell whatever they bought in the first place. Now, maybe they sold it, they have 2 million naira. Now, they'll start another business. After doing that business, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, it's not working. They'll close that business down again. before you need all that money, they will squash it on all of these things. They'll be like, oh man, Nigeria is not this. Okay, yeah, but Nigeria has its own problems, but then still, maybe so many times the decisions and are not planning well about these things, or just going into business you don't know about, it does more harm than good to startups. So another thing is winning the trust of customers. When you sell goods, you need to gain the trust from your customers. You don't just sell things like, okay, maybe there are some you need to reach some level that you don't like. Yeah, it still matters, but you won't be worried about some of these things. Now it's a new business. You need to gain the trust of your customers. Maybe sometimes you even give your customers goods. Okay, go and try it. Go and try these things. Now, if you're really selling something that is good, people will refer you to other people, like, okay, this is what I'm using, and it's really good. Could they bad, from there, you gain the trust of them. Then, when you start a business, you don't expect to like, it's always about gain. No, maybe later you have to, your business is now standing well. If you can't buy it, that's how much I want to sell it to. Are you buying or you're not buying? But if you just start the business, all you need to do is gain the trust of your customers first. Let them know whatever you are buying from Lami, no, just forget it. It's the best. You won't regret buying it. And then, you should be willing to maybe promotions and whatever. Okay, you start a business. There are people who are already selling these things before you. Now you just want to break into that market, and now you think you can just, you can just gain the trust of people, and to abandon what they've been using or what they've been buying before, and to just come and start buying yours. No, it doesn't work like that. You have to gain their trust. How do you gain their trust? Okay, let's say maybe you can reduce the price of your own thing. Let's say it's like a computer. Now it's 20,000 naira that they buy it from whoever they buy it from before. Now you can just say, okay, mine is 10,000. Because at first it's not about the profit, it's about you gaining customers. And now let's say someone is selling their former customer is selling for 20,000, but now you came, you said you want to start selling your own 25,000, something they've not even tested. How would they start patronizing you? So you need to gain their trust. It's when you reduce the price, then even if they don't want to buy, let's say I buy. When they buy, okay, this thing is not bad though. Then at the end of the day, before you know it, they will refer you to someone else. Where did you get this from? It's from so. It's nice. Then after that, when you finally gain their trust, that they know, okay, whatever they buy from you is nice, then you can increase the price and compete with other competitors in the market. So these are just the few things I would like to say about starting up a business, so as not to take everyone's time, and the next person can come in and say what he has to say. Thank you so much.
Wow, thank you so much, Lami. And that you really shared insightful ideas, because obviously it's very, very important to gain the trust of the people that do business with you. If not, if there's no trust, they'll go to somewhere else. They'll go to someone else that they know they can trust. Trust is very crucial, especially these days that a lot of people don't trust Nigerians as they used to before. So it is very, very essential that you build trust, which Lami has just spoken about. It's very, very key. And don't diversify too much. Nigerians do that a lot. They just move from one business to another in quick succession. Like, they don't even wait till they actually see the returns from one and solidify their position in that one that is doing well before they just quickly go into the next thing, which is what Cole and Lami has mentioned too. So thank you very much for that. We'll just let Olatubosun quickly make his presentation. That will be the final session for today. We were supposed to have, because we've started I told you about letting mentees present as well, so we can give them constructive feedbacks on their presentation, and which will build their communication skills and presentation skills. But because of the time today and the issues we've had, we'll have to push that into the next session. We were supposed to have one person today and two, but we'll have three of them to next session, and hopefully next session will be we'll try to manage our time better. But I'll have Olatubosun quickly introduce himself and make his presentation, and that will be the final note for this session. Thank you very much for your patience, everyone. Thank you very much for staying this far. So Olatubosun, please, over to you.
Hi guys, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Olatubosun.
I'm not sure I would be able to spend much time to go through the presentation like I planned to. I'm actually running out of time now. I'm just 15 minutes into another meeting. So I will just quickly talk about things that I've wanted to talk about. I think the other speakers have said so much already. They've said practically almost everything that needs to be done as an entrepreneur. And then Cole spoke a lot. Tosin spoke quite important as well too. Like Tosin said, the very first thing that's important as a person starting up a business is capital. So you have so much ideas, but who is willing to take a bet on your idea? That's very important. But again, looking at it, there are two things, there are two options if you're starting a business. Do you want to be a slave to your investor, or you want to have financial freedom? That's why you're starting a business. Whether we like it or not, you're starting a business because you want to make money. Whether you have ideas or you don't have ideas, there are two ways to start in a business. You can have, your idea might be creating a solution for people, or you might just be grabbing an opportunity that's available. So you don't always have to look for a way to create a solution before you can start a business. If what you have is just jumping on an opportunity that is already happening, you're not necessarily creating anything special for the people, then it has more to do with how you package yourself, like Tosin mentioned. And like Cole said as well, when it comes to some certain startup businesses, how you position yourself with your investors, it also matters a lot. Be ready to speak to your investor any moment, anytime, anywhere. It could not even be your investor. It could just be your friend. It could be anybody. Being ready to speak about what you do shows you know exactly what you want to do. And then, see, there's one secret people don't understand. When it comes to investors that are real investors, they are not looking for you to help them make money. They already have money. That's why they are actually an investor. They're looking to keep their money somewhere and also potentially grow the money. That's why they're actually an investor looking into business. These guys, they are ready and they know when a business would move, if a business would not move. Sometimes they just end up taking a chance, taking a bet. Okay, I'll do it. Nobody actually looks to you and say, okay, I expect 10,000 from you in the next 10,000% increase from you in the next 10 years. I expect 1,000 increase every year. It's unreliable. It's like you're taking a loan from someone to do a business. If you're looking for an investor is someone that's going to be part of your business. And we don't have much of that in Africa here. In Africa here, what we have is people giving you money and wait for their return. If that is what you want, give your money to the bank, then you get your interest. That's quite easy. But that's not possible in what we do today as an entrepreneur, because looking at different challenges entrepreneur face, aside from getting money to start the business, first of all, looking at government policies and environment that enables them. Those two are very important. How is the government helping you? How is the government supporting you? Because the government we have in Africa today, they are not interested in supporting entrepreneur. They only support entrepreneur by the books, just to have the numbers to say that they do. But they're actually not. They're just waiting for you to make certain amount of money and they come and hit you with tax. That's what they're just waiting for. And all of these things happen on a daily basis with people not understanding the business, how it works, not understanding that once you start a business, there is a book that says why people fail, basically. People that have failed businesses. The book is about people that have failed businesses. See, the reason why people fail most businesses is they overlook some very petty things at the beginning. If you're starting a business like I have, I actually run a marketing agency itself. It's in 6 countries in Africa and then also in Dubai and India. We have a team there. See, what I realized in all of these places, starting a business in Dubai and then in India was more difficult than actually starting it in Africa here. But people from outside of Africa find it difficult starting a business in Africa here. See, the reason why it was easier for us is we were born in this government. We grew up with this style of business.
Sure.
We end up doing it. Okay, let me give you an instance now for a very, very, very insightful something. There's something we call corruption in this system. As an agency, while I was working for another agency before starting up my business on my own, I started my business because I wanted financial freedom. I'm not going to lie about that. I wanted financial freedom. That's why I went out on my own to do my own business. I did not do my business because I had one crazy idea overnight. No, that's how I got into doing business for myself. But one thing you have to know is tenacity. Be ready to do everything it takes for your business to succeed. And having a good team to rely on is quite important. Talking about the corruption, see, my friends from India, from Lebanon, and then Dubai guys, most of these Middle Eastern guys that I work with, when they come here to do, one thing they have a problem with is the corruption. That you have to sort some people to get what you want. They are not brought up in that system. They are brought up differently. But here, we're used to it. We know we have to sort people. So we go ahead and sort, and we get to do business. But they don't get to do business because they don't have the time to be sorting everybody. When we are making our plan for budgeting, when we are making our plan how to spend our profit, we have certain allocations for what we do. Okay, this has to go for sorting of people. Then, okay, this has to do with this. They don't make such plans. They don't make room for that. So it makes it difficult for them to. If the government is involved in entrepreneurs, the sorting and everything would be almost less. But the government itself is based on corruption. So that's something that we cannot do away with. It's something we have to keep in mind whenever we're running business. See, a typical instance was doing a business with one of the biggest telcos in Africa here in Ghana. And I had to sort about 3 different people, one person on each level, just to be able to get the contract. And even after the contract, they have a own certain percentage that goes into it. Everybody's always looking to make extra money. If you put that in mind, depend on the scale of business you're willing to do. But how much money do you even have in the first place to start a business? And then you still have to sort people out while you're trying to make money for your own business. All of those things couples to what cripples entrepreneurship. I have colleagues and I have business partners that started marketing agencies about the same time, some even before me. They've all collapsed by now because they cannot keep up with having to sort somebody in the marketing department just to give them a shot. It's not like the company is not looking for an agency. The company is looking for an agency, but regardless of what you present, if you don't have someone inside, you don't have your problem solved. There's no way you would eventually get it. It's only God's grace. And God's grace, sometimes I see it as just imagination. Sometimes it just takes good work to get there. And then when you get there, it takes God's grace to manage it. That's very much more important than actually getting the job. And again, one thing Cole mentioned too was staff quality and getting people that believe in your dream. That's one headache that I'm still facing every day till date. I can tell you since 2017, I started my business, started my own marketing agency in Ghana here before we ended up getting to 6 to 8 countries. I have hired and fired not less than 250 staff. I'm not going to lie about that. Not less than 250 people. And this is how it started. At first, I hire people that I've worked with that I'm sure they know what they're doing. We can work together. We can do things together. At first, it was a beautiful zeal. We worked together all night, creating ideas. After the first 2-3 months, everybody's vim, everybody's zeal started dying out one by one. And that is something you can never teach anybody. And that's one thing that I've noticed here in Africa. We always have a very good starting point. But following up on our ideas is something we're not so good at. See, I had to learn the hard way from my people that I've worked with, people that I trust, and I know their intelligence capability. I know their creativeness. I know how creative they can be. People of such caliber that I've worked with for the past 6 months and let me down. So since then, I don't believe so much in having somebody to lean on. If you want to be successful as an entrepreneur, you have to do most of it by yourself. And what you can delegate to people are going to be things that they can only go wrong with it. It's a physical wrong that can go wrong. It's not going to be something that can collapse the business. It's something so little that can go wrong with it. You've done almost everything to step by step. This is how I want things to be. This is how things should be. This is how it should be. Those foundations, those layouts should have been laid out. If you don't have those layouts, whoever you employ is going to come in with their own idea. and then probably collapse your business because they will take you through a route that does not work with yours. Then it becomes a problem. At the point we stopped hiring staff full times. Then we started hiring staff based on consulting base. Okay, we hire you, no contract ties you down. We just offer you a contract as a contractor. You work with us per project. Even at that, we get people that are not even ready to put a zeal in there. They just want to do their own and go. When you have people like that ready to work everywhere, you can't blame them. They only want to work for the money. They're not interested in your ideas. You might end up getting people that will be interested in your ideas. But again, when you get them, what follows up is how is their tenacity? How involved are they in your business? Are they people that are ready to be part of the business, or they just want to collect salary and go home? You have to put that in mind again. These having staff quality and people that are ready to do what it is for your business is something that is not common here. Here we are either traders owning business or a shop, making our money daily, or you're working for somebody and getting your salary. Working for a startup sometimes can mean you might not get your actual pay for about 2-3 months. Maybe you get half of your salary then at the point to get your money back again. Things go up and down. But in this case where people are not ready to understand that, they just want to make their money, you can't stop them. You can't. There was a particular staff of mine which is a animator graphic designer. He does special project for us. This guy has been lackadaisical about his work for about 2 weeks, half of the month, which is about the 6th month, and someone I've worked with, I've known for years. So it took me time to actually have to let him go. Upon letting him go, that, okay, dude, this is it, it has to end. All right, we'll see you next time. He sat down there saying he's not going to leave until he gets his full month pay. Well, at the end of the day, we have to find a way to pay him his money, or else it's going to cause us more problems by just staying around, which is not going to be good. It's not going to be good for people who are also working with you, saying such kind of ethics. It kills the business morale. In a case like that, you have to be ruthless when it comes to your business. It is your business. The final idea has to be teachable. You don't leave people to creative thinking at the end of the day, in as much as you would love to do that. But you have to do most of the creative thinking, then delegate the work to the people. When you delegate the work to the people, you would have more time then to do more thinking. Because as an entrepreneur, you need all the time in this world to do thinking. When it comes to physical works, try as much as possible to delegate those. But when it comes to thinking about the business, the brain behind the business, never let that go to someone that is not invested in the business. That can only go to maybe fellow investors as well. One more thing I want to talk about is managing client expectation when it comes to presentations, the hierarchy of approval of presentation. It's really a bit redundant sometimes in Africa when you deal with most of these businesses. Let's say dealing with one of the biggest telcos in Africa, and then it's taking them 2-3 months to approve just marketing budget. And it's not even the whole marketing, but just a section of it all. They have to send it to head of marketing. They have to send it to regional head of marketing. And that person has to be in charge, has to be connected again to their external media agency, which they already have. See, all of these processes as well, it kills business. We did a pitch in January. We got the contract for it in September. Not like anything happened. It just took them time to process and release funds. All of those things as well. How do you keep a business that you've done a pitch for from January and then you're getting money for in September? How do you keep the business ready for 9 months? You have to pay salaries. And the government are not helping when it even comes to loans. None of these are available to help you solve the business. One thing we did eventually to solve the problem was convert all our staff contracts from full-time to contract based only. We only work with them when there is a project to work with. And when we have 2, 3, 4, 5 projects at the hand at the same time, we have a larger team to work with. That sometimes may not work for some people, but it has proven to work for us. And with that, we have been able to reduce costs in terms of paying utility costs for each staff on a daily basis while they work and then there's no income coming. We've been able to eradicate that. We've been able to eradicate so many unplanned expenses just by harboring people and then keeping staff in-house again. And then if you're looking at client expectation, managing client expectation, which is quite important as an entrepreneur itself, because your client expectation sometimes it's so, when you have 2-3 people talking to the client, it's easy for them to sway away and then talk to the client about the expectations not being so much, but you being the one talking to the client and then talking to, it could be potential investors, it could be anybody, you being the forefront talking to them. It's something you have to be careful about. You have to learn something that we call man management. You have to understand how to talk to people one-on-one and how to convince them. That's a very important skill to have. That skill is different from talking in front of a crowd, hosting a talk show, or giving a presentation. It's a different thing. When you sit down with an investor one-on-one, you have to do something. There's one thing I always do. You have to do something special, something different from what everybody is doing. But there's something, it's a free advice I would give. When you are talking to someone that you really need to get something from, never take your eyes off the person. Don't lose eye contact. Once you lose eye contact, the person becomes the dominating part. But if you are the one staring into the person's eyeballs, the person would continue to listen to you. But once you look away and you look back, you lost that power. Then when it comes to negotiation, it becomes a problem for you. If it's just a gist, you're gisting with the person, it's okay. But when your business depends on it, you have to be ready. You have to be on your A game. There are some things you just cannot avoid. There are some discussions you can't. When Cole mentioned the other time where people avoid some certain discussions because of some certain things, they didn't meet up with investors' money and all like that. When you are in such situations, you all have to do is have a conversation. Everybody's understanding at the end of the day. Believe me, any investor you get is going to let you know that they have done businesses that have failed before. They are not new to failures. That's why they are still investors. Investing is gambling. It's like you're entering a casino. You don't know what you might get at the end of the day, but you know there's an opportunity for you to make money in there. And there's a huge opportunity for you to lose money in there as well. So when you're going, every investor already knows that they might lose or they might gain. So don't be scared to talk to your investors even after you've lost money. As long as you come with a valid reasons, right? Well, we lost money, but this is what we have learned and this is what we realized we should have done better that could have helped us. If those information can be provided to them upfront and have a proper conversation with them, you would not have a reason to run away from your investors. You would not have reasons to hide from your investors. Be open and transparent, and don't be scared to fail. Don't be scared to fail. Failing or failure of a business entirely, it comes from the fear of you not wanting to fail. And it's not supposed to be that way. The fear of you not wanting to fail should be prompting you to be successful, but it's different. When you're ready and you say, if I fail, I'm willing to learn and move on, that's when you hardly fail. But when you're scared of failing, then there's more than 50% opportunity that you are going to end up failing. Because with that, you become conservative. When you're not scared of failing, you're willing to take risk. And risk is the success of an entrepreneurship business. Because as an entrepreneur, today you make money, tomorrow you might not make money. And the following week, you've made money you should make in 10 years in one day. And for another 2 months, you might not have another income at all. And you have just that to deal with. That has a lot more to do. And when it comes to do with time management, you need to understand your time. As an entrepreneur, your time is your money. You have nothing to do with cash. Cash is not your business. Cash is something that comes to you at the end of your work. When you work properly, your cash will come to you. But if you don't work, your cash don't come to you. That's why you're an entrepreneur. As an entrepreneur, you need to be cautious of your time. Even if you're just sitting alone, ensure you're thinking about something. I spend most of the time on my phone. Most of the work I have to do, I can do 80% of it on my phone that I need my laptop for. That way, anywhere I'm seated, if I zone out for 30 minutes, I can do almost all my day's job already. So that way it gives me time to think about how to move the business forward, because that at the end of the day is your responsibility. That should not be delegated to anybody. Whether you have a general manager, you have a business manager, don't say, how can you not be proactive? How can you not think ahead of the business? Those things are not the responsibility of your employees. They are your responsibilities. If you don't do it and show them what needs to be done, nobody's going to do it because it is not their business. That alone you need to keep in mind. That's one thing that I have ended up learning the hard way when it comes to doing business and managing people itself. Before I became an entrepreneur on my own, working with different agencies, there was a period I was managing a team of 14 people. I had 14 staffs working directly under me. Within that period, I learned so much and I did not do so much. I did not do so much and I learned so much. I learned so much in terms of managing people, because that took 80% of my time. Because then my own KPI, my responsibility was ensuring that people under me are successful at what they do. That brought about me creating trainings for them every week, supervising their creativeness. Whenever they're having a brainstorming session, I always make myself available to be there. These are things that I could have done without, these are things I could have waited for and say it's not in my job description to do, I don't need to do them. Sometimes from my own pocket, I take my team out bi-weekly, every 2 weeks on dinner. We sit down on the table, we talk, we do everything together. That created some fun.